Hello, this is Kate from Daily Tarot Girl, and welcome to your weekly tarot card reading. Now, for this week's reading, I am using a deck that I've had a very long time. It's one of my old favorite decks. This is the Crystal Visions Tarot by Jennifer Galasso, and as you can see, my box is kind of beat up, so you can tell I've used this deck a lot, and I actually trimmed this deck. So I trimmed the white borders off the cards. Okay, so I'm going to start by choosing 3 cards for the week ahead, and my intention, as always, is to get some ideas and insights into some of the themes, some of the energies and opportunities that might be coming up for us this week. So if you enjoy this video and you are not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. It really helps me out. Okay, so let's zoom in here, and I love the backs of these cards. They're so pretty. Okay, so the card for the beginning of the week, Monday and Tuesday, we have the Hierophant. All right. So I kind of like this card for the beginning of the week because it has this real energy of organization and confidence and almost this feeling of predictability and being really assured of something. And for some reason, I'm just happy to see a card that represents those things kind of at the beginning of the week. So here's what I think this card means for us. At the start of the week, I think it's going to be really important for a lot of us to get organized. So this is what I see in the Hierophant. The Hierophant represents like an organization. So in this case, organized religion, but it could also be, he's this religious figure. He represents organized religion, but there's also other organizations like university or something like that that could be represented by the Hierophant. But essentially the Hierophant represents like some sort of big old tradition, and there's a sense of organization there. My cat Rhea, hey Rhea, say hi to everyone. She's just come to explore the roses. I picked a fresh bouquet of roses right before starting my video, and she's really interested in it. I don't know if you've met Rhea before. She's only been in like a couple of my other videos. She's being kind of shy, sort of hiding here. Rhea, say hi to everybody. Okay. So yeah, so the Hierophant is this card of organization, and what I'm getting is that your sense of self and your sense of power and productivity will be determined by how organized you can be this week. So get organized at the beginning of the week. Get as organized as you can. This might mean making a to-do list, or if you're into bullet journaling, kind of getting organized on that front. Start your bullet journal. Wow, she's really into these roses. Hey. Yeah, so organization. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. My cat's she's sort of distracting me here. So getting organized. And the other thing I want to say about the Hierophant, he also represents hierarchy. So think of how like within religion, there's, a hierarchy within the church or within any kind of institution, a government institution, a military, a university, like there's hierarchies. And I think that what I'm getting here is that the Hierophant represents the need for you to basically prioritize. That's kind of what prioritizing is in a way, right? You look at all the things you need to accomplish, all the things that you want to do, and you think, okay, what things are at the top? What's most important? And what can be put on the back burner for now? So that's what you want to do. You want to have I don't want to say the word hierarchy, but like prioritize. You want to prioritize things and have a sense of, okay, what's the number one priority this week? What's the number two priority? What are the need to do's? What are the nice, I'll do if I have time kind of tasks. So getting organized in that sense. I feel like there's more to the Hierophant though. The Hierophant, this card also represents like following a sort of prescribed path. So one thing I always say when the Hierophant comes up, I say that there's moments in life where you need to do your own thing, and you need to listen to your intuition, and you need to go out, color outside the lines and go rogue. That's not what the Hierophant represents. And then there's times when, you need to follow the rules, or it's helpful to have a playbook, or it's helpful to ask someone for guidance and advice and be given like a step-by-step plan. So there's moments where you need a step-by-step plan. You need a blueprint. You need an instruction manual. And then there's times in life where it's helpful to just toss the instruction manual aside and do your own thing. But when the Hierophant comes up, it's saying an instruction manual will actually be really helpful for you right now. So what is the instruction manual that you're going to use this week? It might be doing something like taking a class, or going through a step-by-step process. There is this real feeling again of like organization, like going through something one step at a time. Okay, let's look at the next card. So we have the Queen of Cups for the middle of the week. So this is kind of Wednesday, Thursday-ish. We've got the Queen of Cups. Now she has such a different energy to the Hierophant. The Hierophant is like, do this. The Hierophant is kind of bossy. He's like, this is what you need to do. Here's the step-by-step. Do this and then do this and do it this way, and etc., etc. Whereas the Queen of Cups is the opposite of that. She is very flowy. There's this real intuitive vibe with her. And she's all about listening to your intuition, kind of going with the flow, holding a space for something, and then seeing what happens. So there's almost an experimental kind of vibe with this Queen of Cups. And this takes courage. It takes a lot of courage to simply hold a space for something and invite it and then see what happens. So beginning of the week was all about having a plan, but midweek, you need to kind of check in with your intuition, and you need to ask yourself, what am I holding a space for? What am I holding space for in my life right now? And what am I calling in? What am I inviting in? Okay, there's something else I want to say about this Queen. The Queen of Cups, she is very, like I said, she's very intuitive, but she's very comfortable in the intuitive realms, in the psychic realms, and in the emotional realms. So she sees her feelings and her emotions and her intuitive insights as gifts. She sees these things as absolute gifts that will help her get clarity and understanding on what the next step in her path is, or what kinds of things she needs to prioritize and where she needs to be putting her focus and her attention and her energy. But more than anything, I think of the Queen of Cups as being like a really good therapist who is like such a good listener and really like hears between the lines. Like someone that you can sit with, you can pour your heart out to them. They make you feel very seen and very safe, and they'll listen to what you say, and they'll pick out some really important things of what you said, and they'll say it back to you in a way where you're like, oh yeah, I never thought of it that way. So that's kind of what I'm getting, the vibe I'm getting with this Queen of Cups is she's a really good therapist. So this might mean midweek is a good time. I mean, if I was going to read this really literally, maybe midweek is a good time to check in with a therapist if you have a therapist, or a good friend, or a mentor, or a family member that you're close with, or even a coworker or someone that you're close with, and not like necessarily to vent or to pour your heart out, but just someone who will listen with an empathetic ear and then give you their sort of insights and what they heard, kind of like reflecting it back to you. I feel like that is, having something reflected back to you this week might be very, very helpful. Okay, end of the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we have the Devil. So this is it's not the first major arcana card, it's the second. So interesting, we've got the Hierophant and then the Devil, which is fascinating. So, what's really interesting, and I can't help but compare and contrast the Hierophant with the Devil, both of these cards represent a lack of freedom, but in different ways, which I'm going to talk about in a sec, but I want to talk about just the Devil on its own. So the Devil for the end of the week, the Devil is about the things that seduce you, the things that call to you, the things that call to you and seduce you that are perhaps unhealthy though. So I'm not talking about things that call to you like painting or yoga or whatever. I mean, the things that call to you that are maybe not that healthy. So this could be unhealthy habits, addictions, behaviors that might feel good in the moment, but have sort of negative consequences later on down the road. So ultimately, I think of the Devil as being about like the habitual patterns and the habits and addictions that play a role in our lives that keep us limited, that keep us going around and around and around, and keep us almost on a level of being slightly sedated. It's like stopping you from being fully awake, fully alive, and fully aware. And when the Devil shows up in a reading, it's usually an indication that there's something that you're ready to acknowledge and move past. There's something that you're ready to break free from. It could be something as small as like a really unhelpful habit that you're kind of aware of, but now you're finally ready to look at it, see it for what it is, and transcend it and move past it. Or it could be something really big, like a big addiction or a big pattern that you've been repeating for a long time, and you're finally ready to take a look at that pattern and see it clearly and start to extract yourself from it so that you're not as limited by it. So all of this is stuff that might come up on the weekend. So you might be more aware of a particular habit or pattern or addiction as you move through the weekend. But the cool thing about the Devil is it's always an indication that you're ready for more freedom. You've come to a place in life where maybe the old patterns aren't working anymore and you're ready for more freedom. So there is this there's a thirst and a yearning for freedom. And with any kind of addiction or unhelpful habit or particular pattern, there's always a need or a desire underneath that you're trying to meet. And so you can't really understand the bad habit and you can't really transcend it if you don't fully understand what the underlying desire, what that underlying need is. Okay, so I said that the Hierophant and the Devil are both kind of similar and that they represent a lack of freedom. So the Hierophant is about following someone else's rule book, someone else's guidelines, which sometimes is necessary, and that's not a bad thing in and of itself, but it can also keep you kind of stuck if you always have to be following someone else's instructions. So that's how the Hierophant can represent limitation. So having an outside authority kind of say, do this or do it this way. And then the Devil is the lack of freedom that comes from being addicted to something, unhelpful habits, unhelpful patterns that kind of keep you moving in circles instead of moving forward, or instead of going deeper into something. You stay on the surface because you're addicted to something, and you're in this habit, this pattern, you're going round and around, and it keeps you at surface level. So framing it that way, I feel like once you get to the end of the week, not only are you ready for a little more freedom, but you're ready to go deeper. And the one thing that's going to stop you from going deeper into something, whether it's going deeper into the relationship that you're in, or going deeper into your spiritual practice, or exploring your creativity in a deeper way, or a friendship in a deeper way, the only thing that might stop you is your habits, your patterns, your addictions. Okay, let's look at all of these cards together. I'm just going to see if there's anything else that jumps out at me that I want to mention. I feel like this is a week of a lot of, I'm going to say internal growth and spiritual growth. The Queen of Cups, she's right in the middle of these two kind of intense cards. They're like the Hierophant and the Devil are two powerful cards, and they represent something powerful that is kind of outside of you. And the Queen of Cups is about the power that lies within you. And when I was talking about her, I said she's kind of holding a space for you. And she's almost in this reading as a supportive person. She's here kind of holding a space for you, supporting you and listening to you with that empathetic ear. So there was something I was going to say. I was on a certain train of thought and I just kind of lost it. Oh yeah. Okay. So one way that I think you can support yourself this week, and all of the different challenges and opportunities that will come up this week, is to kind of dip in and out of being in Queen of Cups mode. So holding that space for yourself, being very gentle and non-judgmental with yourself. And again, this is how you transcend those patterns and habits, is by being gentle with yourself and being, understanding and kind to yourself, and taking time to reflect. There's lots of reflections happening in this card. So taking that quiet time to reflect and to give yourself that space to do so if it's available. And that is what's going to support you the most this week. Okay, so that has been your weekly tarot card reading. My name is Kate. I'm also known as the Daily Tarot Girl. You can check out my website, dailytarotgirl.com, if you want to learn more about tarot card reading. So thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you think. Share your own thoughts on these cards, your own observations in the comments below. I'd love to read them. So thanks for watching. Have a great week.